This is a teenage riot at a summer resort. The place, Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. The time, Labor Day weekend, 1964. The property damage in the thousands, more than 100 arrests. The cause, varied and complex. The place, Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. The time, 1 year later, Labor Day, 1965. No property damage, no arrests. Why? That is the subject of this film report.
All of the drinking good, all of the drinking good, for the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom. All of the drinking good, for the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom. All of the drinking good.
This is the story of a riot that didn't happen, but might have. In a way, it's a unique story, but unfinished. It is a documented account of one community's efforts to deal with the growing national problem of youth violence at summer resorts. In recent years, such names as Seaside, Oregon, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Newport, Rhode Island, and Rockaway Beach, Missouri, have exploded into the headlines in the shocking wake of youth riots, the destructive climax to youth's simmering discontent, real and imagined. For 4 consecutive years, beginning in 1961, Hampton Beach, New Hampshire was the scene of Labor Day weekend disturbances. But what began in 1961 as a youthful end-of-the-summer last fling had grown by Labor Day 1964 into a full-blown riot. A bewildered community awoke the morning after with one question on its lips. Why did it happen? William Dunphy, one of Hampton Beach's leading businessmen.
Well, Hampton Beach, like any other tourist area, has had to go under a tremendous transition. And in a lot of respects, we just weren't ready for it. I mean, there just are more young people. They have more mobility. They're able to move around more rapidly. And as a tremendous resort area where our population goes from a town of 5,000 to 30 or 40,000 permanent residents during the summer, or summer residents, and then up to as high as 75 or 80,000 on big weekends, we have some particular and peculiar problems with reference to activities for young people.
In the past, we've had a good program for the young, very young. We have our playground and we have many things. We have a big program in Hampton Village that all...
William Elliott, Executive Secretary of the Hampton Beach Chamber of Commerce.
So forth. This is a supervised program with arts and crafts and so forth all summer. But in this particular group of, say, 12 to 19 years old, we have neglected them over the past.
Hampton Postmaster George Downer.
Well, I think it's been the lack of communication between the adult population at the beach and the youngsters. Times are rapidly changing, and I think a lot of us adults probably aren't changing as rapidly as the times are.
For Hampton Beach, one of those changes has meant a tremendous increase in the number of teenage summer visitors. For more than half a century, the beach has been a favorite summer vacation spot for older persons and family groups. Its scenic beauty and general atmosphere of quiet are its major attractions. Hampton Beach is within easy driving distance from almost anywhere in New England, lying just across the Massachusetts state line in the southeastern corner of New Hampshire's Atlantic coastline. In recent years, the construction of new and better superhighways, rising affluence, and the easy availability of automobiles have made it even more accessible, bringing an influx of unescorted younger vacationers. Some of them with the shaggy hairstyle of the day, the tight-fitting jeans, all of them intent on having the good time that goes with the informality of a beach resort. But adult-oriented Hampton Beach was not prepared. It offered little in the way of entertainment for young people. Business establishments observe an early closing time. Even the large beachfront dancing casino became a symbol of discontent. The complaint? It booked acts which had no appeal for youth. Still another irritant, restrictions on dress. Casino operator John Deneen.
But as you know, in our bar, we make them all wear coats and ties. Result of that, you have much better control. I think the way the kids are dressed has a great deal to do with the way they act.
But by far, it was the actions of the police which stirred the deepest resentment among the youth. They claimed their cars were a constant target for police halt and search operations, that Beetle-type haircuts were an immediate and almost automatic cause for suspicion. The police, in the eyes of Hampton Beach's young visitors, were a harassment, a view shared by some adults.
Young people can sense when something is being done that is fair, and that word is subject to a lot of interpretation, but I think that's the crux of a lot of the resentment, that as a class they felt that they didn't have the same fair treatment as other groups were getting on the beach.
Restless, idle young people, unfriendly police-youth relations. These were among the explosive ingredients for a violent eruption 4 years in the making.
3 years ago, I said I'm not interested in cause, effect, anything else. All I'm interested in is getting the youth of Hampton, the youth who are here, out of here. Let them go anywhere they want to, but not at Hampton Beach. Last year, I said, this is a national problem. This is far bigger than Hampton Beach ever thought of being, and therefore, we have got to think of it as a national problem and try to do something to help the whole United States and not just Hampton Beach.
William Elliott's new view now typified the community's deep concern. The Hampton Beach Chamber of Commerce, disturbed by the growing intensity of the youth violence, moved promptly. At a meeting called to map some concrete plan of action, it decided as a first step to undertake an immediate study of the entire situation. From close by Boston, it called in social psychologist William Cavarasius, Director of Youth Studies at the Lincoln Filene Center, Tufts University.
I found two groups, divergent groups in the community, as one would expect. There was a hardline school who wanted force, law, and secondly, what might be identified as the soft line, those people who were talking about causes and preventive methods and providing some kinds of channels for energies of young people. But basically, the community had no facts, it had no hypotheses, it had little or no organization, it had little money, and yet it had a great problem. In due time, in talking with the people in Washington, I suggested that we might prepare an application and seek out funding to do a kind of demonstration project. We got together, marshaled our resources, prepared an application, which was submitted to the Office of Juvenile Delinquency and Youth Development in Health, Education, and Welfare in Washington.
Most, but by no means all, of Hampton Beach's residents were sympathetic to those ideas. Some continued to argue for more stringent police action. Among them, Elmer Haneker, operator of a beachfront business.
I don't see any advantage for a youth program here at the beach if the purpose of it is to eliminate riots. My strong feeling, as I said before, is that that should be taken care of by the law enforcement officials.
But the majority prevailed, and the Chamber voted to request federal assistance. In the spring of 1965, its application was approved by the U.S. Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. A federal grant of $41,870 was to finance a 9-month program, locally run, but in consultation with the Office of Juvenile Delinquency and Youth Development in the department's Welfare Administration. The project was designed to serve two major objectives. First, to help stem the tide of violence, which by now had become an annual Labor Day tradition at Hampton Beach. But even more importantly, to test some new ideas for the prevention of resort rioting nationally, concepts which could have applicability in other communities facing similar problems.
I think one of the most serious problems we've had,
like the concept of maximum youth involvement. With some adult guidance, this was to be the young people's program. Teenagers and young adults were to play an active role in developing activities and running them, in creating the program's purpose, even its name, the Committee to Avoid Violent Eruptions. For short, CAVE. Project Director Paul Estevar.
The purpose of the CAVE program, as defined by the kids themselves, was not to eliminate riots, but hopefully to eliminate the cause of riots by finding a function for the young people on the beach. We started with no established program at all. We started with the idea, the concept that there should be something done from young people, and we went to the young people and let them carry it. We drew our ideas from the young people.
Focal point of the youth program was this prefabricated beachfront building, a contribution of the community. Project staff members and youth volunteers early in the season helped construct it and throughout the summer to maintain it. The CAVE building served as project staff office and as a youth meeting place where young people could gather for a song fest, immune from police restrictions forbidding such gatherings on the beach, the boardwalk, anywhere in public. It was the place where youth at Hampton Beach could come for information on things to do, to locate jobs. It was a message and general information center to serve all young visitors to Hampton Beach. Joining CAVE was almost as simple as signing your name, paying a nominal 10-cent registration fee, and having your picture taken for a membership identification card. But membership carried a serious responsibility. Youth who joined signed a pledge affirming their refusal to participate in any violence. By summer's end, some 2,700 young adults and teenagers had signed such pledges. And the CAVE membership card had its practical side, too. It was ready identification for any youngster who might be stopped for questioning by the police. And it entitled its holder to a reduced admission fee to the CAVE-sponsored entertainment programs held throughout the summer.
He carried her back to his home by the sea, crying, "Father, oh Father, I've murdered poor Polly. I've killed..."
Ruth Feinblit is a Boston University co-ed who has sung professionally. Tonight, she is volunteering her talents as the featured performer in a CAVE-sponsored program at the Onyx Room, one of Hampton Beach's most unusual night spots. It's a converted store that serves as a teenage nightclub, offering soft drinks, soft lights, and a modest cover charge. They call themselves the first original CAVE jug band, a lively mixture of talent and enthusiasm. They're staff members and youth members of the CAVE program. To the more than 100 young adults and teenagers crowded into the Onyx Room, it's an exciting night on the town. To CAVE staff, it's programming, one of a series of similar entertainment programs put on during the summer. But the Hampton Beach Youth Project wasn't all self-indulgent fun. In mid-season, CAVE sponsored a day-long outing for 50 youngsters from orphan homes in the Portsmouth area and other communities in New Hampshire. The program's cost was underwritten entirely by CAVE, from money earned through car washes, door-to-door collections, and contributions by CAVE members themselves.
What we're concerned with in the skit we're going to see is first to ask ourselves several questions. Number one, does it arouse anything in us?
This is a police training session for members of the Hampton Police Department and police departments in surrounding communities who help out on crowded weekends. The lecturer is Norman Kassoff of Washington, D.C., a training consultant with the International Association of Chiefs of Police.
Which will avert violence, or is it one that will develop violence and spark other activities? Okay?
All right. Get down. This is my identification. You first.
It's called role-playing. A bit exaggerated? Perhaps. But an important point is being made. The police are seeing themselves as the young people see them. What's more, it's helping to open another line of communication between the police and youth at Hampton Beach. The skit is just one technique used by Kassoff in these weekly training sessions, which were an integral part of the Hampton Beach demonstration project. Hampton Police Chief Paul Levitt.
The major step has been to create a new police image in the town of Hampton, to create a more professional police agency, one that will command the respect of both the young people at the beach and the adults alike.
That by 1970, 50% of this American population of 200 million will be composed of people under the age of 25. This new society is making an impact. We don't understand it fully. It's a kind of odd society in some aspect. It's got some in it that wear funny hairdos. It's got some in it that wear funny-looking pants. It's got some in it that play funny-looking drums that came over from Africa or play a guitar. And we don't understand fully all of the drives because they don't understand themselves. Nothing is more difficult for an adolescent than to suddenly find he's no longer a little kid anymore, but he's not fully a man yet. He's in the limbo. We must remember that the adolescent who sits in this society has the same constitutional guarantees given to him as the rest of the society. And that when we lose sight of this, we can create as much hostility among this group as we can among the adult group.
The program is definitely not finished as far as our training and our constant striving to improve the agency.
But even in its first year, the police training program under Hampton's new chief of police had a marked impact. Hampton attorney and businessman James Fallon.
I think that the policing here has been more effective this year by far than it's been for at least 5 years, and it has completely changed the character and the atmosphere of the community all through the season.
Well, I believe in the past we've had some inexperienced police that maybe didn't use good judgment in the handling of young people. But I think this year with the state police who are well-trained in this sort of thing and the new police chief we have locally and the training his men have had since last year, that the situation has been handled entirely differently, and I'm in thorough accord with the police action.
But not everyone who spent the summer at Hampton Beach would have agreed. Among the dissenters, some of the youth members of the CAVE program who felt that the state police were too vigorous in their enforcement of the regulations.
I think that the state police are more aggressive than the local police in the way that if you walk down the beach with a guitar case in your hand, they'd stop you and ask you where you're going.
I think also that the state police are prone to act before they think in time.
Most of the comments that I've heard, both through the news media and at many gatherings and from many individuals who are concerned with the overall welfare of Hampton Beach, didn't describe it as such. We based our enforcement policy the same at Hampton Beach as we do over the entire state. Fair but firm enforcement.
Lieutenant Paul O'Leary of the New Hampshire State Police, commanding officer of a special 20-member state police contingent, which was assigned to full-time duty at Hampton Beach in 1965.
Individuals engaged in law enforcement, but mainly carrying out the routine of the state police. Our function was to support the local police department, the Hampton Police, and to protect the state property. The state has a great deal of money invested in the beach and some new construction down there. And our role was to protect this and the people that use it.
Another major component of the Hampton Beach project was its original research. If the demonstration was to have any meaning, considerable data on attitudes and other basic information would be needed. Project Research Supervisor Manning Van Nostrand.
This is one of our research instruments that we're using on the Hampton Beach project. It's called the Irritability Deviancy Scale. It'll be given to about 1,000 people on the beach this summer, both adults and teenagers. It's one of several research tools that we're using. One of the interesting aspects of this Irritability Deviancy Scale is the fact that it has 30 specific items in it which have measured various detailed behaviors: swearing, running up and down the beach, covering someone with sand, drinking on the beach, dancing on the beach.
No single issue during the entire summer aroused as much community controversy as the question of dancing on the beach.
I know that there have been people who have left Hampton Beach because of it. They saw it once and they had enough. And we don't want people leaving the beach for any reason.
Assistant Project Director Dick Hammond.
We felt that dancing was a real important facet of our entire program, in that it involves large numbers of people, large numbers of kids on the beach, in something that takes their energy, something that is exciting for them, something that is meaningful for them. It's a small part of the total program, but it was something which we felt obligated to fight very hard for.
It has not been customary to have any sort of mass activities out there on that beach, which is a lovely beach, but is rather limited in size for the great numbers of people who come here to Hampton to enjoy it. Then also this rock and roll dancing as the kids perform it, and especially if it's performed in bathing suits, many people feel is objectionable.
Had a young lady dancing in a bikini, and she was offensive to the police in some way and to the adult community. The young lady went and put a shirt on simply by being asked, and within a matter of moments, all of the girls that were dancing had a shirt on or some way of covering themselves so that they weren't dancing in a bathing suit. The kids have done a magnificent job in terms of policing themselves at all of our functions.
I worked in music a great deal of my life, and I know how music can affect. And I think that the fact that rock and roll excites and brings on some of these things and gathers big crowds, large crowds anytime you get them, are dynamite in instances where there has been. This is what happened at first back in 1959 and 60.
As far as the law enforcement is concerned, we have had no trouble from any of the dances that have been held on the beach, as far as the dancing itself causing any trouble.
Not only to the CAVE project staff, but also to those in the community closely associated with the program, the inability to hold an unlimited number of outdoor dances was seen as a major failure of the project. Richard Stone, a commercial airline pilot who helped organize the Hampton Beach project and served, until his resignation in midsummer, as adult chairman of the youth program.
It failed in, first of all, asking for the trust of the youth on the beach, and then obtaining the trust, and the young people working for us and progressing with programs, having no trouble. And as it turned out, we betrayed the trust of the young people.
I think we got a half a loaf on what we probably could have done had we had the original plans have been carried through. I think
Business executive Will Cunningham, who took over the job of youth chairman following Stone's resignation.
Dancing on the beach seemed to be the big thing that was the most opposition to the merchants. And I think some of them felt justified in doing it. They were quite concerned that anything was going to perhaps take away from the short season that we have down here at the beach that was going to jeopardize their overall take. They guard this pretty jealously.
In 1965, Hampton Beach enjoyed its first quiet summer in 5 years. Quiet, that is, in terms of the absence of youth violence. But the federally financed demonstration program that was designed to cope with the problem of teenage riots produced an unexpected byproduct: community controversy. Walter Vanderpool, president of the Hampton Beach Chamber of Commerce.
Well, basically, I feel the opposition originated because what we are attempting to do for these and with these teenage kids has never been done before in any community anywhere. To me, and to a great many people, it was an experimental thing. And I believe in the minds of some people, particularly New England people, they just will not accept something that does not have a proven formula, so to speak.
One might well ask, was it worth it? What did the project prove? What, if anything, was accomplished? What about the controversy, the disappointments? We think there are answers, measurable, visible answers. But as we have done throughout this report, we will let those involved speak for themselves.
It's difficult to say what specific elements there were in changing the pattern from the violent one of the previous years to the peaceful one of this year. I think if you ask the kids, they'd say Cave had a big hand in it. The difference in spirit, the fact that somebody, or a few somebodies, or the Chamber of Commerce is represented by me and the older people who worked with me, cared enough about the kids to go to them, ask them what they wanted, and help them to establish what they wanted.
It's my hope, and I think the hope of most people in the town, that in the future, by the experimentation that's been carried on this summer, that we will have a continuing program for young people, and that they will feel a part of the programming that does go on, rather than having these resentments that they have had in the past as far as some of the conditions at Hampton Beach.
To me, the Cave program has meant a place where I can come and act like a human being on this beach. I can have a little bit more freedom than I can in other parts of the beach. This has been the only place on the beach where we can actually come and sing and have a good time. We can talk over the problems of the beach, which we're all interested in.
Well, I think that the Cave program has been more of a means of communication between the youth and the adult worlds, and the Cave building as more of a clubhouse where the kids can go and meet and have a good time.
There was a different stance taken. People changed their minds. They looked at causes. They looked at these youngsters as something more than people to be commercialized. And I think they turned their attention to offering them perhaps a better kind of service on the boardwalk. In incorporating youth into the Cave organization, so-called, what we had was a good demonstration that youthful energies can be marshaled for good and for constructive purposes, that youth, when given some responsibility on the beach for calling out their own initiative and their own energy, will come to the fore. I think this is one of the real lessons learned on the beach.
Take me baby down on the